Good morning, afternoon, and evening from wherever you are, and welcome to NerdTube. And it's time to talk about Paradise, episode 8 of season 1, I guess, the final episode, The Man Who Kept Secrets. Everything was revealed today, and lo and behold, kind of some things I kind of predicted to a degree, especially when I found out we had the season 2, also came into fruition. But before we start talking about this episode, let me introduce you to my lovely co-host, Winnie.
Hey, how are we today? How was your week?
It was all right. I I've had a day off today from work, and I've been working evenings a lot for personal reasons and stuff like that.
hmm
And I've eaten 5 Cadbury cream eggs, and I feel absolutely disgusted with myself.
I have like fake buttered popcorn, so I'm right there with you. So it's all right. Once in a
Fair
while, it's
enough.
all right.
So
Yes.
we got to our resolution today,
Yeah.
and it was quite interesting how things panned out. Um, Regarding all the twists and turns and callbacks as well. But we did start once again with a flashback. And I was
hmm
thinking to myself, damn, another flashback on the final episode. Like, come on, like, what's going on? But this flashback was significant because we found out that the guy who was kind of in charge of all the diggers, I guess, the miners or
hmm
whatever you want to call them, was the man behind everything. He ended up being the person who tried to kill the president, I think in episode 2 or 3,
Uh-huh.
um, earlier on, and then he ended up taking the place of the real librarian, um, who was killed by him. He killed his wife as well, and just found some girl on the street to play his wife, and infiltrated the bunker that way. It was very interesting, and I have to admit, at first I wasn't too pleased with this revelation, but as it explained itself, I started to appreciate it a little bit. To a degree, not all the way, but my God, not everything was resolved. Not everything. There was some things that people got away with as well. Like Jane. I mean, she's fucking nuts, man. She's
She's a double agent. She has to be.
well, I think
Jane
she just
Jane is
absolutely
like
yeah.
my hero right now, and I know that that sounds weird, but like if she would have just given her the Nintendo, she would have been not shot probably.
Yeah, but I can't forgive her what she did to her boyfriend. Like this, them.
Yeah, I
You
can't
would have.
forgive that either. But I don't think she actually loved that guy.
Yeah, but
You
she did a
know,
good job pretending. That's just, like not a flinch of
that's
like
because she's
hesitation
got
to
some
kill
sort of
him.
psychosis, psychotic, whatever. I'm not a doctor, so I'm not gonna like, yeah, but yeah, yeah. So the episode started out with us seeing a little bit more into how they were like digging the paradise, you know, and it made us fall in love with these miners who were mostly POCs, and their foreman was this guy who like started to like, befriend people and or befriend them and love them and buy them their favorite beers from West Africa or wherever. And like, so you start to fall in love with these people, and immediately I was like, man, I'm gonna fall in love with these people just for something really shitty to happen. And lo and behold, just like, um, I don't know, Northrop Gunman, a real life company in America that does lots of military stuff, just got in trouble for something like this. Not exactly this, but people died because of money. They basically said the foreman found out that the where they were digging was poisonous and was hurting the miners, and the big since this had to be done, they basically fired him and said "F you," and that's why this guy had a bug in his ass.
I have to do a quote from Galaxy Quest: "Miners, not minors." Daniel Vance, but yes.
Like miners.
And it's funny, but they
Jesus.
all expected to get paid very well, and they probably did, but it wasn't like their money was going to go very far because the end of the world was happening.
Mm-hmm.
And and then like the one thing I was kind of surprised of was the architect. Like we only saw him in flashbacks. We
Mm-hmm.
never saw him in the current day. Had no idea what the hell's happened to him. He might have not even gone into the bunker by the looks of things. You
Mm-hmm.
know, maybe we might see him in season 2 to a degree. I think outside. And we'll get to that a little bit later. Regarding the outside world, Sinatra, she's real fucking crazy, and when it came to the kid, she didn't want obviously Jane to kill the kid, but Jane was so desperate for a Wii, and we're not talking about fucking. I know it
That,
sounds weird when I say it like that.
yeah, we're not talking about a Nintendo Switch. We're talking about a Wii, which is
A
crazy.
Nintendo Wii, yeah,
Yes.
exactly. She wanted that Nintendo Wii, because the president's dead now, so can I have it? And in a weird way, Sinatra's kind of like wondering, "You're fucking nuts." Well, of course she's fucking nuts because she just killed her boyfriend without hesitation. So
Mm-hmm.
you're dealing with somebody who's got no like no empathy or any other like any emotional desires with people. So yeah, this is who you hired, and you
Mm-hmm.
should know better. And then you think, oh my god, Jane's killed Xavier's kids,
Uh-huh. They
and
have us thinking that the whole, like, for like a good portion of this episode is that crap. She killed Presley, but I think she was doing that to get at Sinatra.
yeah, she was saving her own skin as well. I think she realized that she was probably no match for Xavier as
Mm-hmm.
well, and keep him on board, be on the same side as him, which is
Mm-hmm.
why she did what she did. But we're gonna regarding the Trent the librarian, like
Mm-hmm.
following his story was absolutely fascinating.
Mm-hmm.
We only had a short time with him and really got to understand him. And there's also clues as well regarding him, and not just him, but the outside world, which was left by the president. It was those books, you know, which was the clue on the cigarette paper. I'll get to that in a bit. But regarding Trent, watching his story when the world was coming to an end, basically the people were breaking out of jail, but he was in jail for trying to kill the president in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
And then he breaks out, steals a uniform of a prison guard, pretends to be a cop, yeah, and finds the very people who are trying to get into the bunker, and then
The
kills them.
actual librarian, yes.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's just making up as he goes along. I don't think he was looking for them initially,
No,
but
they
finds
just
it.
happened to look enough alike. I think he was like sweet.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, he thought he could definitely pass for them, and he took them back. Said that there's a back road and stuff like that, and then he just plugged them and took their clothes and took
Mm-hmm.
their wrist bracelets and stuff like that. Shaved his head to make himself look bald. I shave my fucking head. I shave it every now and again, and right now it's not on skin. I mean, it's been growing for a few days, but even when I've got it at its shortest, I can never get it shiny like that guy did. Yeah, I
Right.
mean, you need to really blade it. I think. I don't know. I mean, that guy's bald head looked proper shiny, like there's no fucking hair growing there
Right.
whatsoever. So he did a good job with that, and his beard as well. Like they gave him
Yeah.
a look. Like you could tell prior to so after his makeover that he had a fucking fake beard, the actor. But regardless, he obviously trimmed his beard and stuff like that, made himself look like a. And librarians, they have to have a particular look about them. I mean, they got to look like substitute school teachers, and that's the look he gave. And then he found that chick who he needed to pretend to be his wife, who was devastated.
Mm-hmm. It
And this is
just
the thing because
worked perfectly
sorry,
for him.
yeah, it panned out perfectly for him. But this is the thing. I actually thought this chick was the killer at first because whilst they were going through the details of all these people who are living in paradise. The shrink who's now um,
Yeah, Dr.
being told by the
Tarabi.
but yeah, she's been told by Robinson to go through all these people's backgrounds. She realizes, there's something weird about this person. She's got a nut allergy, but yet she's eating nutty fries and nutty foods and
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that. What the hell's going on about that?
Yeah, and that's
And
what
then
I believed that too, that she was the killer, and I'm like, but she's, I don't know, like
she
me, a little
she's
pudgy, and I just can't
yeah,
really
like
believe that, you know,
yeah, I was
like.
thinking to myself, yeah, how the hell? Because we look, we with the DNA, well, they did get some of the DNA of the person who did the killing, but the DNA wasn't of somebody who was within paradise.
Mm-hmm.
So we are assuming that somebody broke into the paradise and killed him that way, but
Mm-hmm.
that wasn't this. That was kind of 50% of the case. It was basically somebody infiltrated years ago and
Mm-hmm.
only kind of woke up from his sombra of wanting to kill the president when he met the president again, which was Trent. But regardless, it's through her that they find out that Trent is the killer. And Trent himself, even though he's the killer, he never killed Xavier. They do stuff like that, like
Mm-hmm.
like you could cover your tracks, Trent. You kill Xavier, nobody will know it's you, or maybe they won't. But you, in his mind, I don't know. It's just obviously other people knew that it was him, but still, he just knocked him out and said and tied him up, and then basically gave him the whole spiel. The whole exposition dump was given,
Mm-hmm.
and then we understood everything from them.
Mm-hmm.
Her, him, the waitress who ended up pretending to be his wife, and all of that. It was all explained, and yeah, and we see him trying to kill the president, and he whacks him with a drill piece, and
Mm-hmm.
then he whacks him again, and
Yeah,
all of
they.
that.
I thought
Yeah,
it was kind of funny that they had that the miners on display in the library, like we hold them to a higher thing. No, no, we don't. We don't actually give a shit about that. We're just pretending.
that's
So,
just in life in general. I mean, I've
mm-hmm,
said that about sorry to get political here, but I've always said that about the veterans and stuff like that. They're just a tool for
mm-hmm,
politicians to say we care about our veterans and yada 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 when homeless veterans are showered all over America and no one gives a shit about them
mm-hmm,
suffering from mental illness or physical disabilities or a variation of both. And no, they're just a prop. They're just a tool, you know.
mm-hmm. To make
Um, and
politicians feel better about themselves.
make everyone else feel better about themselves as well,
Mm-hmm,
thinking that they give a shit about vets, but they never did. They never do. You know, like I said, military people are just a tool for the rich and famous or the rich and
mm-hmm,
powerful. And same with these miners as well. They were just a tool to be used, and then their lives were discarded once the place was made. And this guy who was in charge of it all regarding the miners, Trent the librarian, he wanted revenge for all of them,
mm-hmm,
and that's why he killed the president. When the reality is that this was bigger than the president. It was probably
uh-huh.
the president was probably the wrong person to kill. Um, Sinatra was, in my opinion, the person to go after.
Me too. Like,
But
man, this president was not he was a good guy based on he went to the library to make that mixtape. We thought he was just making a mixtape a few episodes ago, but he really went in to talk to record a CD for his of his voice telling what's going on in the world or in this paradise.
and not just that, but he was only president. He's only president for a short period of time. They were building paradise for 12 years. Like
Mhm.
this with Sinatra from the get go.
Mhm.
She was at the very beginning. She was the one who got the architect down and said, like, build me my city, and all of that.
Mhm.
So he was really the wrong person to go after, in my opinion. And he
Mhm.
wanted to get more people in. Yeah, he really did go for the wrong person. So that's the unfortunate
But I
thing as
don't think
well.
he knew that at that time, at least. But I don't know if he ever knew, because um You
He's the
know, he
president of the United States. You know, how's he supposed to know? But then again, he did speak to. I'm sure he was working on the site, wasn't he? You know, like he worked on the site. He must have met Sinatra and all of
hmm
that at some point. But maybe he still
well,
thought.
his dad, the president's dad owns all those oil companies. So that's how she got somebody to figure out how to dig deep so that they could build that city.
Well,
And then huh?
no, sorry, go on. Sorry.
He wanted his son, the president's dad wanted his son to do something of worth and forced him to go into politics. So I don't know. I don't remember if he was like what kind of politician he was at that time, but he was something.
Well, we just to regarding the sun, I want to go into that code in a second. But
hmm
regarding the sun, you can see he's influencing people now. He's got people gathering around, and he's
I'm
talking to
so
them.
proud of him.
See, we'll see how that pans out next season.
I'm
But
a little bit scared for him.
at the moment, as long as Jane's now under nobody's control, she's the person I'm worried about the most. You know, and
hmm
but if she's under, if nobody is ruling her, then it'll be interesting to see what Jane decides to do. But yeah, I think she's nuts. Paradise Buildings makes me think of the Denver airport. How do you build something like that in secret? I bet there were so many rumors and conspiracy theories during the building of Paradise. Yeah, I'm pretty sure there was. I mean, they were thinking they were building some sort of research facility or something like that, which wasn't the case.
hmm
Some sort of
And
science
I
lab.
talked about that last week. Like the Denver airport has all of those conspiracy theories about hidden bunkers underneath it and the weird gas masks paintings that are like the theme of that airport and like the Australian antigen weird thing that's it plaque in the floor on it, just a bunch of weird stuff in there. So we did talk about that a little bit last week.
It's the most mountainous region in America, I believe.
hmm
Yeah.
and so it has the like one of some of our largest mountains, so it makes the most sense to um build paradise inside one of those mountains.
Yep. Well,
But
we get onto the code now because Xavier tried
yeah.
to figure out what these numbers mean, and he once he realizes that Sinatra is not the killer, he has
hmm
to basically revisit the whole fucking crime scene and everything again and look over things. He comes across the mixtape for Jeremy,
hmm
and then he remembers the cigarette, and then he uses those numbers to look at the codes which are allocated on books. And
The Dewey Decimal System or whatever they're using down there.
yep. And sorry, it's been such a long time since I've actually stepped foot in a fucking library, to tell you the truth. Um, yeah,
the
but
the
I
president
do
did a
recognize
good
the
job at
system.
leading him there. I do want to say that. So the president was like flashing these CDs without being obvious. Because then when Xavier started thinking about things, he was like, wait a second. He was really, making some noise about this CD. And that's how he found that extra. Um,
I'm just surprised they're using CDs. Like, wouldn't things be easier to put on a flash drive? You know what I mean? On a USB stick, in today's world,
yeah, but like this is more permanent. Flash drives get lost. I don't know exactly why they're using sort of outdated media, like why she cares about a Wii when we've had the Nintendo Switch for 8 years now or whatever,
yeah,
but
yeah,
I
yeah.
don't really know.
But he finds the book. Initially, he finds a book which says Frank Sinatra on it, but that's
Mhm.
nothing to do with it. And then he finds the next book about the man who kept secrets. And
Mhm.
then he opens that up, and that kind of reveals, the outside world. I believe it's the outside world. I kind of was losing, not losing interest, but I was losing the idea of what the fuck
Emphasis.
was going on.
Oh. So I paused some of those to read them because it's me. It had like coordinates to places, and one of the pages said coordinates and then Atlanta, Georgia. which
Yeah,
is where his wife was last at, you know. So there was like, it was like the president was helping both his son and helping Xavier, because even though Xavier was mad at him, the president really loved Xavier.
yeah, yeah. He did. He did. You know, he saved his life.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, he left him all those clues, and I know we obviously heard his wife speak earlier when he was talking to Sinatra, who basically said, "Yeah, your wife is still alive," and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
And once he'd got all the clues together, and obviously the librarian dies, he kills
Mm-hmm.
himself because he's been had now, and Robinson and Xavier are chasing him. And luckily for Xavier, he doesn't die with the information. He keeps the books, but he
Mm-hmm.
throws himself off the top of the basement roof
That
and
was
falls through the
crazy.
lighting. Yeah.
So he's on top of paradise, basically, on the outside of things, and he decides to jump off the building and end his life. I don't know what the best way to say that is, um, but he's falling through, and then they show the camera facing the sky, and you just see this body crashing through all the lights and all the stuff that makes paradise paradise. And I thought that was crazy.
I was a bit, something I kind of forgot to mention earlier regarding Trent is that he once he got into paradise, and he basically conned his way in, and he was hoping that with so many people coming in that the security guards wouldn't take a second glance at the pictures.
Mm-hmm.
As long as they see beard, he's got beard, that's good enough, and all of that shit. He's bold, that picture's bold, that's good enough.
Mm-hmm.
That they would let him through, and they did. And he cried his way after his bracelet was broken and shit like that. But
Mm-hmm.
then he actually said that he kind of got um somber, and he
Mm-hmm.
just chilled out for a bit. I remember there's only 25,000 people living in this place,
Mm-hmm.
and he never met the president for like until 3 years later. But they've been living in there for 3 years,
Mm-hmm.
and
Well, the
that's when he
president never
finally.
went into the library, so he tended. I guess people, were people in general are creatures of habit. So if he is just doing his job at the library and he feels like he does, like he even said, I felt like for a minute there that I deserved to live in this
I'm just thinking the
utopia.
fact that we're talking about the president. He's the
Oh,
most
okay.
prominent figure there. There are times when his name will be mentioned for various reasons during the course of their tenure in that place, whether it be some sort of giant town hall, some festival, get together, whatever it may
Mm-hmm.
be. Sending those people outside like he did. To do that. That to see if the outside world is still livable, all of those things. He would have heard about that. He would have seen that. He would have known about that. He would know that the president exists still. Like he's not blissfully unaware that there's no president there. Like the president himself would still be doing shit to make himself, renowned to all the people living in paradise. And then only until he sees him in person does he finally it clicked for him. Like I thought that was a bit weird, you know. Which was,
Well,
and then
that's
and
what
then
I was
like
trying to say. He kind of zoned out. He kind of was just like, I'm living here. I feel like I deserve to live. Like I made it this far. I'm just gonna, like, you know how you get, like, sometimes anybody could walk by you, but you're just so stuck in your ways that, like, uh it doesn't matter if Donald Trump is walking by me or not, because you're just zoned out doing your thing.
Do you think, like, in 3 years, though, he would never? It only took till that third year that he finally bumped into the president.
Well,
You
not
know?
everybody would have been close to the president, because he even said, I thought this was going to be an actual paradise, but it's just more of the same. There's the people in the nice houses with the servants, and then there's the lower people, and I
Yeah,
was just
yeah.
a lower person. So maybe he would have never have seen the president if he just kept going the way he was going.
Yeah, good point. But
So
yeah, it woke up a fire within him. He thought, I need to kill this motherfucker. I need to take him out. And it was weird. Like in a way, like, come on, mate, count your blessings a little bit. Like you've uh you've got away with it.
right.
Don't blow it. But he couldn't help himself, and that's when he did the assassination.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, and that was the end of Trent, the uh the librarian, after that, because he kind of sowed his fate after that.
Right.
But we already talked about his death and stuff like that. So now Xavier basically wants to get his family back,
Mm-hmm.
and he goes to visit Sinatra, and Sinatra's got a couple of guards there, and he goes, "I'm really," and Sinatra spoke earlier to Jane, and Jane has basically said, "Yeah, I'm going to kill these motherfuckers. I'm going to kill this kid. I'm going to eliminate
Mm-hmm.
the problem." And so now Sinatra thinks that Xavier's daughter is dead, and he's
And
trying
she actually
to,
feels bad about that. Like you can see,
yeah.
like crap. She didn't actually
I think
want
she,
the
but I
daughter to
think she's
die.
scared as well. Like
Scared
at
of
the same
Xavier.
time, Xavier is somebody you don't want to fuck with.
Mm-hmm.
He's a bit like Liam Neeson. He's a man with a particular set of skills, and we
Yeah.
see those skills come into play because the guy's a fucking pilot as well. So he knows his shit.
Mm-hmm.
Regardless, he goes to meet he goes to meet Sinatra,
Mm-hmm.
wants his kids back. Sinatra says they're dead, and so, well, he not in those words, but he's trying to tell him without saying those words,
Mm-hmm.
and then he puts an act on pretending to cry. But the reality is he's reaching for a gun they don't realize he has,
Uh-huh. Because what was
and
great was he
yeah,
walked into there, was like, she knows I'm coming, and gave them a gun. So they think,
yeah,
oh, he doesn't have any more weapons. He's good. He can just go on in. Mistake.
exactly, exactly. And if you see that movie Metro with Eddie Murphy,
No.
he goes to see a guy who's got these people taken hostage, and the guy checks him out for any guns. He's got no guns, and then he tells the hostage guy, "Okay, I'm going to go back and get some food for you." So when he goes back to get some food for him, he then puts a gun on him, and then he goes
Oh.
back, and then he takes out the guy that way because the guy early checked him for no guns, and now he's got a gun on him. Anyway, that's similar. I was just thinking of a
Mhm.
similar thing. Like, he gave him a gun, thinking, yeah, that he's got
Mhm.
no guns on him, but obviously he's got another one in his leg, and takes out those two police officers, those two security guards, and then basically holds Sinatra to ransom. And he's about to kill her, I think. But
Mhm.
then Jane, out of nowhere, that dastardly Jane,
Yes.
you know,
She comes busting through, and when he was about to pull the trigger, she pulls the trigger instead. And so I'm like, where the hell did that bullet come from? Like, what's happening?
yeah,
I had no, I would have, if you gave me like $1,000, I would not have guessed that Jane was
yeah,
gonna be behind that bullet. Like,
brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Because at the same time, even though Sinatra is no ally of Xavier, she's the one who knows the truth about Jane, and she can't tell him because she's choking on her own fucking blood.
mm-hmm. And Jane
Yeah,
goes up to her and says, "He was gonna kill you. I need you. What I need you for is, or I need you alive for whatever I need you for. I don't know what she needs her for, you know, other than the Wii. But she can't. It can't. This can't all be about a Nintendo. This cannot all be about that. You
I
know."
don't know. I mean, we saw her play with the fucking Wii later on. Like,
I know. I
she,
love that scene. That's probably my favorite scene so far. Like just playing tennis.
she's in this world. She's getting a little bit loopy. I don't know, but she basically tells Xavier, "Yeah, I saved your kids." And
Hmm.
Xavier, like, so grateful, not even asking a second question. And now his mind is on getting his children. All he wants to do is see his kids, sees his kids. He thinks he's cool with Jane. Jane obviously gave an Oscar-winning performance when was it Billy? The William, yeah, Billy.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, Agent William. Yeah, when Billy died, she gave an Oscar-winning performance for that.
Mm-hmm.
So he thinks that she's on his side, not knowing that he was going to kill it. She was going to kill his daughter, but she was very wise and didn't do that, and then swapped
Mm-hmm.
sides. So
Because
he
of,
has
like
no
you said
idea.
earlier, I think she didn't want to be on his bad side because I think he's a little bit smarter and better at being an agent than she is. And B, the only thing she's got is that she's psychotic. But B, she wanted to still play this double agent thing she's got going on. You know, she's playing both sides right now and it's working to her advantage.
Exactly. And so now Xavier is going to save his daughter. Daughter's safe with his with all of his buddies. That's cool. And now his next mission is to go find his wife. And lo and behold, Xavier is a fucking pilot. When the hell did
Mm-hmm.
this happen?
We
You know,
learned that he got his pilot's license, but because his eyes kept getting worse and worse, they were too bad for flying. We learned that when we were talking to his dad. I don't know if you know that episode. It was like episode 2 or 3.
can't remember to tell you the truth, but fair enough. He's a pilot as well,
Like
and
everybody, well, his great grandfather was a Tuskegee airman, and then his dad flew planes after that. So it was like a family traditional thing. So
it's easy. I'm glad you mentioned all this because all of that shit went right over my head.
that's okay.
You know, but regardless, he's now going to fly, and hopefully he's got enough runway to get that plane out there. Seeing all those planes in that bunker the way they were, that was a bit weird initially. But
Yeah,
fine, he's like we just put Air Force One over here and put a few other planes over here, and yeah, but still he managed to squeeze that plane out. And now he's going to. I hope he finds somewhere to land in the post-apocalyptic world. But now
yeah.
he's on the hunt for his wife,
But do
and
you think that they're
yeah,
in that book? We didn't get to see every page that was in that book. Do you think that some of that was like, here's where you can land, you know? Because we
possibly. I think
saw some things.
he could just easily just fly to Denver Airport and hope to land there, or some private runways, or
I think he's
stuff
going to
like
go
that.
all the way to Georgia because
Oh,
that's where
Atlanta, yeah, of course, yeah, I forgot that's where his wife is. Yeah, and
Mhm.
Atlanta's got one of the biggest airports in the world.
Mhm.
So he can. A good pilot only needs to see their instrument
Yep, that's very true.
gauges. They do. Fair enough. Fair
Mhm.
enough. Fair enough.
So,
Regardless, yeah, he's on the hunt for wifey. I said that when we mentioned, you told me there was a season two. Season two definitely was going to be for the hunt for wifey.
mhm.
So
You did say
it's gonna
that
be
from like the second episode of this or something.
yeah. So um, oh, they have to give me that much credit. I just felt hunt for wifey the moment we found out. Yeah, actually maybe we found out that there was people living in the outside world.
Mhm. Whenever we found
Before
that out, you're like,
yeah.
"Yep." So, did he
So
take his kids with him, or is he
no.
trusting whoever the hell to take care of them inside?
Well, for a start, I think he can trust his Secret Service buddies.
Mhm.
He's got that camaraderie with them, and he probably trust Jane as well. You probably think
Ugh.
Jane looked. Yeah, it was Jane. As far as he's concerned, Jane saved his daughter.
Mhm.
So you'll probably trust Jane,
And
and
maybe Dr. Tarabi, because I think
yeah,
she's beside herself in all of this. I don't know how she's gonna
Robinson
act
as
when she
well.
finds out Sinatra got shot, though.
Yeah. I mean, as far as she's concerned, she said it herself that she was playing defense for a monster.
Mhm.
So and there's obviously Robinson as well, who's definitely on Xavier's side. And there's a Carl Bradford's son, who is no name given, unfortunately,
Jeremy.
but Jeremy, yes, of
Mhm.
course. Yeah.
Autism.
So yeah, exactly, yeah. So there's all these people he can rely on, and the main enemy in Sinatra is taken out, and probably Robinson will be in charge now. Which
Mhm.
will yeah.
Yeah, that. I do want to say too that I'm proud of Jeremy this whole time because he's had that iPad and he's just been reading everything he can to all of the
You're like a
citizens in there.
preacher, like
Mm-hmm.
a street preacher.
Because
Yeah.
his dad said something on that tape because he found Xavier left it out for him to find. But his dad said something to the effect of, "If you don't like the way I made Paradise, then you change it." And so
Yeah.
then he's just like literally reading word for word what Sinatra said, what everybody said to like tell them information that they're being lied to, you know. So I'm really
There's
proud of
one.
him for that. And he's
There's
only
one.
like 17.
There's one moment in this episode where we saw all the politicians like
Oh yeah.
shouting and screaming and look at this empty chair. There's a
Mhm.
fucking empty chair. Like, yeah, they weren't saying that, but they might as well have said it, you know.
Mhm. Who's going to
And
be
then
next? Who's the next Sinatra? That's what they're saying. Who's
something
going to be
along
the
those
next
lines.
president, or who, you know, all they
Well,
care about, it seems like, is control, which is the same as the regular world.
yeah. Well, the VP, he's in charge now, but yeah, they need that one. I mean, there's somebody who wants to be in charge, and there's somebody who needs to run shit. You know,
Mhm.
like these guys, they're politicians. They're not they're not what's the word they're unable to run a fucking underground bunker. They're not qualified to run an
Correct.
underground bunker. So they need somebody who can. And now Sinatra's gone, it could be chaos, as well. So
Mhm.
yeah, like I said, it's gonna be very, very interesting
Yeah, cuz
next season.
I think the flashbacks will be done for next season unless they need a few, but
I think
yeah.
there might be the odd one or two, but maybe he'll be flashbacking with his wife, remembering the good times, and maybe there might be something in their past that might make easier for him to find her. Oh
Uh-huh.
look, we used to go here and shag, every
Mhm.
summer, or something along those lines. What I mean, hey, we put a little mark on this tree back in 1986 or some shit like that.
Mhm.
So yeah, so those sort of things and clues and ideas might pop up, because at the same time, with all these clues and like hidden information and stuff like that, it's almost like an adventure game, with Xavier having to
Mhm.
find all this stuff. So yeah, so and are we going to be jumping back and forth between paradise and the outside world? And
We're going to have to be, because what like once people realize that Sinatra's dead or in a coma or whatever happens to her,
yeah, incapacitated.
there's going to be mass panic. There's already panic created because of Xavier. Now they're going to have to, like, once more information gets out, they're all going to be scared shitless. They don't know what to do. They've been living in a bubble for 4 years or whatever.
Yeah, I'm surprised Effie's going on his own though. He shouldn't be doing this on his own.
Mm-mm.
He should be asking a couple of his GI buddies to help him.
Mm-hmm. I
You
agree.
know,
Robinson needed to stay, but he could have asked. There's 3 or 4 other ones.
yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure some of them would want to go outside, after being cooped up in there for 3 fucking years. Better than doing nothing. I mean, being in
Mm-hmm.
that world after a while must be boring as fuck.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's only so much you can do. You know, there's only so many of the same movies you can watch again and again. Knowing that there's nothing else happening, everything's contained in this world. There's no outside interest, nothing. It's all in this one unit. I'll take a chance outside.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I'll be bored to fucking death. You know what I
Right.
mean? So
Not
yeah,
to mention, like, he doesn't know what he's going into. The world is basically over, but people are still alive in it, except for it's gonna be chaos because there's no order anymore.
yeah.
So
It's gonna be like Fallout.
uh-huh. Or
So
yeah, The Last of Us without the monsters.
yeah, exactly. All right, Winnie. Well, that was episode 8, and
Mm-hmm.
a nice send off to this particular series and this particular season. You can tell that they definitely want to do a second season with the way they ended this season.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not limited, that's for sure. And we are going to get a season 2, probably in about 5 years' time. The way they fucking do things nowadays.
Right?
So, and those kids will be like fucking 25 by the time they make the second season. Anyways, what we're gonna give episode 8.
I say 9 out of 10 because they did a really good job at giving us all the information and not like leaving us hanging. It's not like Lost where like you were waiting 8 months or whatever and you had no information at the end of the season any more than you started with. So I'd say 9 out of 10.
I want to give it a really super high mark, but at the same time, I'm not going to give it a low mark. I'm going to give it 8 out of 10. That's where I feel I am with this episode overall. I'm satisfied. It was good. It wasn't like as fastly paced as episode 6, which really felt climactic.
Mm-hmm.
And then obviously we got episode 7, which was a whole flashback episode. And this
Mm-hmm.
episode kind of, pacing wise, it was a bit here and there. And oh look, just need to do a few more flashbacks just to make sure you understand what the fuck's going on and who the killer is and all of that sort of stuff. Fair enough. So yeah, I give it an 8. But still, it was an 8's a good mark because at the same time, we got resolution, so that's why I give it that mark.
Yeah, that
Um,
sounds good to me.
so what about the entire season?
This has quickly grown to becoming one of my favorite shows. So I'd say probably a 7. It's not my favorite show of all time, but like it's pretty damn good.
I give this also an 8. It's a slow burn, and but it does surprise you by the end of the first episode, thinking, wow, like I never saw this coming.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, I did appreciate that, and it does reward you at the end if you stick with it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a bit up and down here and there. Not every episode was great. Um, it is arguably a bingeable show, but at the same time, maybe it's good that we got it weekly. But yeah, 8 out of 10 for me. So
Sounds good.
roll on season 2, I say.
Yeah, I'm excited for season 2. Even if season 2 is that's the last episode or the last season, because I don't think we need like 17 seasons of this. But as long as it's
Well,
done well, I think
it,
we could end it next season.
it depends what they want to do. Do they want to stick to the outside world? Do they want to find other bunkers, other civilizations? They can really fall out it if they wanted to. You
Mm-hmm.
know, um, it could be more than just him finding his wife. It could be, recreating civilization again and
Mm-hmm.
all of that. It could really expand. All of this,
Mm-hmm.
but
Yeah, you're right.
there's so much it can go. But is it willing to go there? I mean, at the same time, I wouldn't want 17 seasons of this either. But at the same time, I wouldn't. If you can expand on this, sometimes I think a show which is doing well should have a minimum of 4 to 5 seasons. If
Yeah.
it's a good show, if it's a good one, if it wants to continue after that, fair enough. If it wants to stop on 4 or 5, then fair dues. So all right,
All right. We'll be
we're
back
done
next
here.
season.
Yeah, we are. Hopefully, you'll catch us talking about Daredevil episode 1 and 2 later. So
Mm-hmm.
keep an eye out for that here on NerdTube. In the meantime, let us know what you think of this particular episode and this particular season of Paradise. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe to NerdTube, the greatest social media channel you never heard of. Take care. Bye
Thank
bye.
you. Bye.